state regime media known as Fox was quite literally stunned into silence as Donald Trump said for them what was the inexplicable. I'll show you that in a moment. Also, while Donald Trump was engaged in this bizarre cabinet meeting press conference thing, Fox had enough and they just had to cut away from it as Donald Trump was starting to talk about the gold painting that he uses on the ceiling. It was so utterly bizarre. Let me show you the moment where Fox was first stunned into silence. Here, their chief propagandist, Jesse Waters, was talking about Trump's disastrous cabinet meeting before the press. Watch what goes down. Here, play this clip.
If it has nothing to do with peace or money, 47 doesn't want to hear about it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration.
Well, that was interesting.
Well, that was interesting, Jesse. And let me show you the moment that Fox just cut away from the Trump cabinet meeting press conference just because they knew how utterly embarrassing and humiliating this was to MAGA, to Fox, to Trump, to the United States. But he humiliates us each and every day. Here, play this clip.
We also painted the room a nice color, beige color. And it's been really something. The only question is, will I gold leaf the corners? You could maybe tell me my cabinet could take a vote. You see the top line moldings, and the only question is, do you gold leaf it? Because you can't paint it. If you paint it, it won't look good because they've never found a paint that looks like gold. You see that in the Oval Office.
All right, we're about half past the hour here. This is America Reports. We have been watching this cabinet meeting happening live.
Then Fox brought on this podcaster, Patrick Bet David, and he's like, I'm flabbergasted. Like, what the hell is Trump doing out there? You can see that they're struggling. They're like, you know, he's trying to coach Trump also with Jesse Waters. He's like, why would you say you had the list if you didn't have the list? What are you doing? Here, play this clip.
You talking about Epstein?
Yeah.
I think good to be back on with you, buddy. But this is what I will tell you. The number one trending hashtag right now on X is Epstein. 2 million people have tweeted with the topic of Epstein. Number two is Nicki Minaj at 100,000. Comey's at 42,500. There is a reason why people are asking about this. This is by far, and I'm a supporter. 3 times I voted for this man. This is by far the biggest fumble of the administration they've had thus far. And here's the reason why. If you remember the president winning, he had a conversation with Fox News, the great Rachel Campos Duffy, and she asked, Mr. President, 9/11, yes. John F. Kennedy, yes. Epstein, he didn't say yes. He was a little bit hesitant of bringing that information out. Why? So why does his leadership team go out there and are like, we have this information and we're going to release this and cash? And let me tell you what we have with Pam Bondi out of the state of Florida. She knew everything about Bondi, about Epstein. Why are you fumbling this? Why are you not having an emergency meeting together to conversate and say, hey, we're going to be on the same page with messaging on this. All you have to do is send a message to everybody, say, God, let's have a conference call. Here's what we're going to be saying about this, because this was a very important issue.
But Fox then had to get its bearings. They are state regime media, right? So they had to figure out, oh crap, what are we going to do? How do we create a distraction with Donald Trump? What do we do? Got it. Let's go after Comey, former FBI director, and Brennan, former CIA director. And they bring on Trump's chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, press secretary. And she's like, truth, transparency. We're going after former CIA director Brennan and Comey for Russia. Here, play this clip.
There's obviously something to that. We just heard Caroline, I don't know if you saw the top of the show. It looks like there has been an investigation opened up into James Comey and John Brennan, possibly lying to Congress in a conspiracy over the Russia hoax. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I just heard that news at the top of your show, and I'm glad to hear it, because both of these disgraceful individuals turned against our Constitution and our country, and I'm sure they did, in fact, lie to Congress, and it's up to the Department of Justice to investigate that and to prosecute them if they did. And what we have seen is corruption at the highest levels against President Trump. The deep state threw everything at him to prevent him from coming back to this big, beautiful White House behind me, and he prevailed, and the truth must come out, and this administration is totally committed to transparency and to justice and to accountability. And we must have a rule of law in this country. We can't be a nation without law and order. That's what the president believes in. And I'm glad to see the Department of Justice is opening up this investigation.
All right.
I mean, isn't it just so obvious what they're doing? Okay, now the FBI is figuring this one out. They're going to criminally prosecute Comey and Brennan now to distract from the Epstein files. By the way, that should be part of the defense of Comey and Brennan too, and just try to get in discovery all the dirt on the Epstein files as well. Then they bring on Fox, MAGA Republican Senator from Alabama, Katie Britt. And Katie Britt goes, you know, the real issue here is that the Democrats, they have Trump derangement syndrome. How dare they talk about the cuts to the National Weather Service, to the key meteorologist coordinator positions, and 6 other vacancies in Texas. How dare they bring up, it must be Trump derangement syndrome to bring up that FEMA is going to be eliminated by the Trump regime, and that DOJ made all of these cuts, and that the local officials in Texas said they did not get the alerts. Let's play this clip.
You know, and I think it shows that Trump derangement syndrome is real when you take such a tragedy and a terrible moment like this, and you don't want to do anything but turn it into something for your own political gain. You know, my daughter is at camp right now. And I know that there are parents out there that are counting down the days until they pick up their child. And there are also parents that are clinging to the fact that they have another day with their child. And we've got to be human beings, Kellyanne. Not everything has to be political. There will be time for us to figure out how we can do better and do more and prevent these tragedies in the future. And what they don't realize is their toxicity is not normal. And it is not something that we should tolerate in the United States of America.
It's so unbecoming for public officials, definitely.
And now is the time.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, it is Trump derangement. Trump deranged? What are you talking? Y'all have Trump derangement syndrome on Fox. You're utterly deranged that any propaganda he spews, you amplify. Then you have MAGA Republican Congress member Stube and Fox's Cheryl Casone. And here they talk about the work requirements for Medicaid. And they're like, a lot of people work 80 hours a week. And then Stubby's like, I'd want to cut more. I wish we could have cut more government services. Right now, you think you want to cut more government services? These people are diabolical. Here, play this clip.
But within Medicaid, and I think this is where the messaging has been interesting, it's 80 hours a month that you have to show that you worked. 80 hours a month. A lot of people, congressmen, work 80 hours a week. Things like that were in those Medicaid decisions, those cuts. At the same time, you've got reconciliation coming. You've got rescissions coming. So aren't there more places that we can cut? And where would you be willing to make cuts in spending so that we don't completely blow out the debt in this country, which is already sitting at $37 trillion?
Yeah, I support massive cuts to a whole entirety of government programs that we have. But unfortunately, we have, well, not unfortunately, but we have moderates in our party that obviously can't support the type of cuts that somebody like me would support.
Then you have MAGA Republican Congress member Jim Jordan. Here's what he has to say. Play this clip.
If there's an able-bodied adult out there now who is in our welfare system, guess what? That person's going to have to work. That is fair to taxpayers. That's good for our economy. Maybe most importantly, that's actually good for that recipient, for that individual, gets them on a better path to attaining work and skills and everything else to get to a better position in life. That is far from immoral. But I always say, David, we know this is a good bill because the left hates it. And the left hates it because it does not empower government.
And then they go into just talking about Superman. here they are saying Superman movie, super woke. As my brother Brett says, the people who this shit works on are stupid, and we shouldn't be afraid to say that. Play this clip.
This is the launch of the whole new DC universe that he's commandeering. Why he would go and blow it up in the 11th hour after hundreds of millions of dollars of marketing and publicity, talking about kindness and look at Superman, the red cape, he's got a dog. This is a lousy way to go. And the question is, did he do this to try to cover up the coming financial disaster, to make it look like it was a political reaction? We'll see. I just did a whole podcast on this. It's a very interesting question, but this may go the way of Snow White.
And they bring on this other guy right here who says, yeah, Superman is too woke. They're taking over Superman. Here, play this clip.
I wanted to go see Superman. I'm not that interested in going to see it now. There's lots of ways that I can spend money. And this moron with his take and deciding to say Superman was super political and it was about an immigration story. I think he's alienated half the country, and I think he made a really poor decision.
And they continue to do that. Here, play this clip.
Clay, I also read that the guy who stars as Superman had the audacity to say, instead of fighting for truth, liberty, and great values in America, he refused to say the last part. I mean, who do these guys think the consuming public is and wants to see these woke movies?
And then finally, they have to go and attack transgender athletes. So they bring on Riley Gaines and pretend that she was going to win a gold medal, which she was never going to win a gold medal at all. But here, let's play this clip. Gaines tied for 5th, but they pretend that she was going to win a gold medal. Here, play this clip.
I remember the first time I met you, and it brought me to tears because you shared with me what it felt like not to hold a gold medal because you were in first place, but to be told that you tied. You'll have to settle for it just with that delineation on it. What happens now?
We will see. Hopefully this sets a precedent for more institutions at every single level. Again, not just colleges. Hopefully now we see governors follow suit. Of course, Governor Newsom, Governor Mills of Maine, they have been terrible on this issue. Hopefully even the Olympics. Like, hopefully this transcends beyond just college institutions. The NCAA, of course, they continue to remain totally weak-kneed and spineless and morally bankrupt on this issue. Again, an institution governed by cowards. So hopefully now this is the example that needed to be set for more institutions to be willing to do the right thing. Again, which of course is follow federal law, that federal law being Title IX, which is very, very clear. Of course, under the Biden administration, actually dating back to the Obama administration, this federal law was hijacked to mean something that, of course, it was not intended to mean. So praise God. And I really mean that. I do praise God for President Trump, for the outcome that we saw on November 5th, for Secretary McMahon, for Attorney General Bondi. She's been fantastic on this issue as well. The Department of Justice getting involved where they need to be. So I really do praise God for swift and decisive action, and hopefully we see more of it.
Well, there you have it, folks. You see Fox completely spiraling right there. We will keep you posted every step of the way, but that's what state regime media is doing today. We'll keep you posted. Hit subscribe, help us get to 6 million subscribers, and have a wonderful day.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.